Andrew Tate, aka Cobra Tate, is one of the most controversial and most googled men on the planet. He's known for his unfiltered takes on masculinity, tearing through cities in Lamborghinis and Bugattis, partying on yachts loaded with women, and living an extremely lavish lifestyle, preaching a high-status lifestyle built on money, power and dominance. Tate has become a symbol of modern masculinity for millions of young men. Some call him a role model and others call him dangerous. Either way, the world can't stop watching, but it wasn't always like this. The Tates came up from absolutely nothing, grinding through kickboxing, jobs and hustles just to scrape by. All beginning in a town called Luton, one of the roughest, most rundown places in the UK. Crime, poverty, zero opportunity. So how the hell did Andrew Tate become a 4-time world kickboxing champion in such extreme conditions? Well, I'm Daniel Cuttle, a YouTube boxer now venturing into Muay Thai, MMA and more. Today, me and my boy Ben Basham are pulling up to Tate's actual gym in Luton, run by his main coach Amir Subašić. And what better day to show up than sparring day? By the end of the video, I'll be thrown into a shark tank going multiple rounds with real fighters from the gym to test my skills. I've never actually done straight up kickboxing, so let's see if we survive. I'd heard stories about Luton being rough, but I'd never actually been myself. I didn't really know what to expect. Stepping off the train, I instantly felt the energy hit different. The streets felt heavier, lower vibrations, less ambition and more survival. Before the supercars, mansions and yachts, this was home. Andrew Tate, along with his mum and brother Tristan, were brought here after leaving the States. Flooded with nerves, knowing the path ahead was full of uncertainty, I decided to calm myself down at my favourite spot, Spoons, for an all-day brekkie, before meeting my mate Ben Basham.
Look, you got the camera out already.
Now my nerves are settled, moods were high and it was time to hit the gym. Here it was, Storm Gym, but something felt off. When I asked about the head coach Amir, they explained that the two gyms had split a while back. Without diving too deep into the details, there'd been a disagreement on the visions between the business. Now we faced a real dilemma. Staying here was the easy option. They welcomed us, and Ben thought we should stick around and film. But I was set on meeting Amir Subašić. Andrew spoke countless times about Amir. After a bit of back and forth, I managed to convince Ben. Why does this have to be so hard? Now we're going to be like 15 minutes late to this other session. The anxiety ramped up. Stories of Amir's military toughness and his brutal training echoed in our heads. And here we were, about to turn up 20 minutes late. We finally arrived, but this wasn't the hardcore gym we were expecting. Instead, we were staring at a rundown church.
Oh, yeah. Everyone! They went to the wrong gym. Welcome to the real gym. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
Amir, nice to meet you.
There's two Storm gyms, isn't there? Honestly, Ben and I were pretty relieved that Amir and the team let us off for being late, and the warm welcome was the complete opposite of what we'd imagined. Still, showing up on a scorching Wednesday, sparring day, wasn't exactly the brightest idea, but no excuses. Someone kindly lent me their gloves as I had no spares, while Ben, who didn't have gear, was lucky enough to sit the session out, unknowingly escaping the brutal session ahead. I missed the warm-up, but Andrew famously never warms up, so I jumped straight into the action. Immediately, the nerves hit me. I'm a boxer, not a kickboxer, so adjusting quickly was essential. I found myself copying my opponent's moves on the fly, and surprisingly, I landed this cool question mark kick. The rounds were relentless, no breaks, straight from one sparring partner to the next. In round 2, my boxing skills and distancing helped significantly, but my boxing stance made me vulnerable to these low kicks, and you're gonna notice throughout this whole session, I was just getting caught with them.
Beat him up, Reese, he went to the wrong gym.
Then Amir introduced the next fighter.
Here go Burning and a fellow Hightower.
But first,
Ready, stand up, go!
1, 2, 3,
Round together!
I actually remember Andrew mentioning this in a podcast. Amir's approach to training was strict. If anyone questioned the instructions or made a mistake, the reps doubled instantly. So I made sure to obey and keep my mouth shut this whole session. This next opponent was incredibly difficult. I'm used to always being the taller fighter, and when I fight someone taller, it's always a struggle. As the session progressed, Amir's no-nonsense, yet humorous style stood out, and his military background was clear. Stern, direct, disciplined, but his approach earned genuine respect from everyone in the gym.
Amir, get back in! Where are you going? Sit down.
In the early days of training Andrew, was it obvious his potential?
And in the old days it was very hard, he was one of many. He was literally beaten up by everyone, and then obviously he didn't like it, so he kept training, and then he changed very quickly to him being the top dog after me.
Right now, I was tired of getting beaten up. The next round was against another exciting Asian fighter. Sharp hands like mine, but unlike me, his kicks were just as quick. I knew this one was going to be fireworks. This is where the real growth starts to happen. Chaos, pressure and instinct. This was the exact environment Andrew was forged in. Like Amir said, he wasn't always this good, and when he first stepped in the gym, he got battered. Everyone does. But the ones who get better are the ones who keep showing up, even when it's painful. I was thriving in these intense rounds, finally putting to use the skills I've been sharpening through Muay Thai and MMA training in Asia. Everything was clicking and I was finding my rhythm. This was the best I'd felt all session, and it felt like the earlier rounds were paying off. But then the heat started creeping in. After countless rounds in this sweltering, humid gym, everything started hitting at once. No rest between the spars. Bodyweight exercises thrown in between, and I wasn't even allowed any water. It was all catching up to me, and this is what Amir called jungle warfare. That's exactly what it felt like.
I can't start with a black person because you know it's gonna be like, hello, welcome Birmingham. Faster!
My legs were dead and my body ached. But resilience is the main message the Tates push. We switched to the famous body sparring, and I knew the real test hadn't even started yet, because there was still a shark tank left to come. And if you don't know what a shark tank is, pretty much you're in the middle of all the fighters and you have to spar them back to back with no rest. It's literally pure survival. But just before we get into that, who actually is Andrew's head coach, Amir Subašić? Amir's not your average coach. He was shot 6 times during the Bosnian War, and he's literally cut from a different cloth. He brings that same no-nonsense intensity into the gym, and you don't train under Amir to stay comfortable, you train to get better.
Oh shit, sorry.
This is proven by the amount of successful fighters he's trained, and his mottos: real training, real results. He told me he could have easily moved to Dubai coaching rich clients, but he chooses to stay right here in Luton for the love of the game and to build up his fighters. No ego, just pure character. And that's what this gym is built on. And you can see how this shaped the Tate brothers too. That fire you see in the Tates, that mindset, it was built in sessions just like these. And look, mentors like Amir are rare. In my life, I've had people guide me in YouTube, business, in fighting, and each one shaped a part of who I am. That's why when we had the option earlier to stay at the other gym or come and find Amir, I had to make this choice. I didn't just want to train. I wanted to feel the same vibrations that champions are built on.
Alright guys, make a shot, take the other fighters. Hey, come on down there, make a cycle. Fine, you boy, get in the middle. Hurry up. And no one else can abort. Make a shot.
Right before we get into the Shark Tank, check out the link in the description to my sponsor, X-Marshall. You see these savage Viking shorts and matching shin guards I've been sparring in? Well, you can cop yourself a pair too. Or maybe even something a little more light-hearted like these SpongeBob Muay Thai shorts. From MMA to BJJ, X-Marshall's got some of the craziest fight gear out there. Hit the link in the description and use code DANCUTTLE for 15% off. Now it's time for the dreaded Shark Tank. So here it was. All the fighters lined up ready to go 10 seconds each, back to back at full force. At first, I was holding my own, but it didn't take long. More shots started landing and I was getting battered. But most importantly, I didn't quit. I kept moving, kept swinging, and kept showing my heart. I understood something deeper. This gym doesn't just test your skills, it reveals your character. And that's exactly why this is one of my favourite gyms and videos I've ever made. Because I didn't just come to Luton looking for a fight. I came to feel what built the Tate brothers and what turns boys into men. Pain, discipline, repetition, that's what forges champs. And in this gritty little church in Luton, I found a piece of that fire. To anyone watching, if you're ever in Luton, I can't recommend this place enough. A massive thanks to Amir, Storm Gym UK, and the whole team for welcoming us. And also Andrew and Tristan for inspiring me to be a better man. It was an honour to experience this special gym. Hard times create strong men, and easy times create weak men. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy this one here.